Exactly, and you know what? Every single person in here had a relative who was an immigrant. That's how you came to be in this country. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, you see. So we had immigrants not only from Ireland, but also from England, from North Africa, from all over Europe and Scandinavia, and even from the Middle East. See, people were coming from all over. And does anybody know what the RMS stands for in RMS Titanic by any chance? Do you know, sir? Does anybody else have a clue? How about the adults out there? Everybody gives up?
Royal Service.
Royal something.
Royal Majesty.
Royal Maritime?
Royal Mail Steamship. You see, the RMS Titanic was the official carrier for the mail for Great Britain and also for the United States. So we had on board postal workers from both Great Britain and the US, which was a very distinguished honor indeed, you see. Now, her sister ship, the Olympic, was also a steamship, you know, a Royal Mail steamship. Now, one of the things I'd like to tell you about Titanic is once we left Queenstown, you see, it was quite smooth sailing. As a matter of fact, nobody had seen seas that smooth in quite a long time, so the passengers were enjoying themselves quite a bit. So they might enjoy things like working out in our gymnasium. Do any of you like to exercise? You do? Yes. Well, you know, in our gymnasium, we had the brand new equipment. We had stationary bicycles, we had mechanical horses, and mechanical camels, and hippopotamuses, and alligators. And, you know, I really didn't understand all the contraptions, you see. But we did have an instructor, a Mr. T.W. Macaulay, and he'd be happy to show you around. So if you'd like to look at our gymnasium, you can do that. As a matter of fact, if you didn't know this, Mr. T.W. Macaulay was such a good instructor that even as Titanic was sinking, he was in the gymnasium assisting with the passengers and encouraging them to the very end. Quite a remarkable man, you know. And we also had on board a squash court. We even had a swimming pool on board. Do any of you like to swim? Yes. We know it cost only 25 cents to take a swim in the Titanic swimming pool. And ladies, you didn't have to worry, you see, because we had separate times for the ladies and for the gentlemen. We need to have some modesty now, don't we? Now, of course, also on board, we had the finest staterooms for the first-class passengers. And here's just an example of what one of the staterooms looked like. And each of the rooms was designed in a different fashion. There was Renaissance and Georgian and Watergate and so on and so forth. And it rivaled the finest hotels in all the world. Now, what also was very good on Titanic was our food. Does anybody here like to eat? Well, if you like to eat good food, you need to listen to the call of our bugler, whose name is Mr. Fletcher, and he would play on his bugle the song, "The Roast Beef of Old England." Now, don't ask me to sing it, because my wife Sylvia assures me I have a very horrible voice. But you would soon learn that tune, because it meant that lunch or dinner was being served. Now, for example, in third class, you can have food like corned beef and cabbage, potatoes, vegetable soup, and even fresh fruit for dessert. And you know, when the third class passengers heard that it was all you can eat, some of them said they hoped the voyage would never end. And they were right in a way, not one. Now, the second class passengers almost ate as well as the first class passengers. The main difference being the second class passengers didn't have quite as many options, and they had American ice cream instead of French ice cream, but I think you'd enjoy the ice cream nonetheless, wouldn't you? Yes. Now, we had several places for the first class passengers to eat. One was this. This is called the Café Parisienne, and I'll stop this in the middle right over here. This was a recreation of a sidewalk cafe in Paris. And between formal meals, you can go there for coffee, tea, juice, croissants, pastries, and so on and so forth. We also had a palm court, veranda cafe. We had an a la carte restaurant. We even had a first-class dining saloon that could fit 500 people in it. Do you think there's 500 people in here? No, there's not even 100 people in here. So imagine 5 or 6 times as many people, all at big tables having the best food ever. So that was the meals on board Titanic, you see. Another great aspect of Titanic was all the woodwork and brasswork and sculptures and so on. And this is a photograph of our grand staircase, with this very wonderful staircase in the forward part of the ship and also a smaller one in the aft part of the ship. And I'll stop that in the middle then, you can pass that around, sir. But you know what? If you get tired of walking up and down the stairs after a long day of strolling the promenade or playing squash or swimming in the pool, you can take one of our 4 lifts. Do any of you children know what a lift is? What's a lift? It is an elevator, yes. As a matter of fact, we have 3 elevators in first class and even 1 in second class. Did you know that at the time there was only 1 other ship that has an elevator in second class? Can anybody tell me what ship you think that was? What ship was it? Do you know? Not the Titanic. Does anybody else know? Not the Oceanic, that's the ship I came from, you see. The Olympic, yes, a white star, whoever said that. There was our sister ship. If you didn't know this, the Olympic and Titanic were exactly the same size.